Hello. So today's live is about leaving the dieting mindset after having weight loss surgery. And this is a topic that I am really passionate about. And I talk a lot about this with my clients. So welcome everyone that's coming on. I'm talking about today leaving a dieting mindset after having weight loss surgery. And I want to talk to you about why I'm so passionate about it. Having weight loss surgery is a medical intervention for obesity. And so we want to obviously venture into that period after weight loss surgery very much around obviously maximising the outcomes of the weight loss surgery, all the outcomes it can bring. Weight loss is one of them, but all those other lovely health outcomes that people get after their weight loss surgery. But I also see, because I've worked with so many people over the years, I see people coming into their weight loss surgery journey, I call it battle worn, in the sense that people have dieted, they've counted calories, they've exercised, done all these things, and it's really taken a toll on their confidence, how they have lost trust in their body, in food, their relationship with food, their relationship with their body, and they're tired because dieting takes energy. So I just wanted to give you kind of that thought as we venture into the topic of leaving the dieting mindset after weight loss surgery. Now, as with all of my lives, if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and put them in. Even if your question or comment's not quite related to what I'm talking about, that's okay, because I'll scroll up and answer questions at the end and kind of cover things off. So what I mean by the dieting mindset, I mean the mindset of lots of rules, counting calories, being on the app, I've got to exercise to burn calories, and all of that really rigid way of tackling eating and tackling food and our relationship with food. And also using a lot of external factors to decide how much you eat. Okay, so dieting is very tiring, and I love working with people to empower them to trust their body and to trust food. And I just want to talk about eating cycles, and then I'm going to go through some 5 steps that you can move through to move out of a dieting mindset after your weight loss surgery. Because I really see it as like freeing, and it's an empowering journey. I want my clients, when I work with them, not only, obviously it's about maximizing your weight loss, but to also make it a health journey. It's all those other things that the outcomes of your weight loss surgery can give you. So I want to talk to you about 3 eating cycles, because this will give you some insight into some things, and then we'll move into those 5 steps. And then I'm going to go through all the questions, guys, and comments. First eating cycle I want to talk about is restrictive eating cycle. And so this is the dieting eating cycle. And what I mean by that is the dieting. I can eat this, I can't eat this. This is good food, this is bad food. If I eat this, I've got to go and exercise. Very rigid, very controlled, good and bad. You hop on the scales, and if they've gone down, you're good. And if they haven't, you're good. All of that, it's very tiring. It takes up a lot of mental energy, and it wears you down, okay? So that's a restrictive eating cycle. Now, guess what? You can't hold that restrictive eating cycle forever. Some people do a restrictive eating cycle move through eating cycles on a 24-hour basis. You might restrict early in the day, and then you move into an overeating cycle later in the day. Or you restrict for days or weeks or months, and then you move into I call it bounce into an overeating cycle, because it happens quite quickly. So when we can't hold that restrictive anymore, we feel deprived and all those other things that it's triggering, bounce into overeating cycle. So what does an overeating cycle look like? It is, you're looking for a particular food. You're eating past your appetite. You're not thinking about how you're feeling in the body. You're wanting certain foods. And my joke is it is very tiring. You're not looking for broccoli and salmon. You are looking for certain foods that make you feel a certain way. You eat what's in front of you. You eat past your comfort level. There's a lot of guilt. You feel guilty, and then you start that overeating again. And what can happen is you feel really guilty and you move back into a restrictive eating cycle. So you might lose a little bit in the restrictive eating cycle. Guess what? You gain it back in that overeating cycle. And guess what, guys? There's a 3rd eating cycle. And that is where we work, and I work with clients to get to an intuitive or mindful eating cycle. After weight loss surgery, you do need to eat regular small meals. But I work with my clients to really know how to, or practice, and it can be a lifelong practice. Small bites, chew well, eat slowly. Listen to the body. How do we listen to the body and not tell ourselves we have to eat this, this, and this? I teach people after their weight loss surgery how to plate their food up and how to eat, but also how to listen to their body, because your body is talking to you, or I say even whispering to you after your weight loss surgery. And it's about getting reconnected, trusting food again and trusting your body. And the intuitive eating cycle, mindful eating cycle, you can have some of those treat foods. You go on holiday, you might put on a little bit, you come back into your zone, you go back to the basics, you listen to your body, and it's about self-compassion. It's not about, I've been bad. It is just about pulling you back, bringing yourself back into that kind of level of harmony and listening to the body, okay? So I'll just recap. There's the restrictive eating cycle, there's the overeating cycle, and we're really looking to practice to spend most of our time in that intuitive eating, mindful eating cycle. Okay, so I just wanted to go through that before we jump into 5 steps you can move through to move out of that dieting mindset after your weight loss surgery. Okay, so 1, you don't have to count calories. You can stop if it doesn't work for you, and for most people it doesn't work for counting calories and being on an app tracking their intake for the rest of their life. Because guess what? You don't have to. There are ways to eat, to listen to the body, and it falls into place. You don't have to count calories and be on an app for the rest of your life. So you can learn how to stop doing that. And that can be really freeing, okay? That can be, there's less energy required, and it can be really freeing. So that is step 1. This is for people that have just joined. I'm going through 5 steps to how you can move out of a dieting mindset after weight loss surgery. So that is number 1, to stop counting calories and get off an app. Some people can be on an app sometimes and track their intake and it doesn't trigger them, and that's okay. So I think it's about being also what's really true for you, and being that if other people are doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. It's about what works for you. So number 2 is, how do you monitor your progress? You can monitor your progress after weight loss surgery that is not the scales. I know. You can do measurements, you can use blood results, you can do how many steps you can do, how certain clothes fit, because the plastic, the bit of metal on the floor called the scales, has a lot of power and can really throw people out, and it can make people feel like they're not doing a wonderful job, when often people are doing an amazing job, working really hard and really putting all these things into practice. And guess what? The scales don't move sometimes for a period, and that's very normal. So that is number 2, is actually looking, do the scales work for me? And if not, can I use other ways to track my progress? And yes, you can. Now, number 3, I think this is the one that is really a key one, and often in that journey after weight loss surgery, you can get pulled off track and forget. I want people to get clear on their why they chose to have weight loss surgery. And most often it's not to look good in a bikini. It is, yes, there's some weight loss, but what can that weight loss give you? The health benefits, the joints don't ache. You can play with your kids, play with your grandchildren. You can do the stairs at work with colleagues and you don't huff and puff. All of those wonderful things. And it's a really great practice to keep that why in front of you and present over your journey after weight loss surgery, because times can get tough. And guess what? That why can also change over time. So that is number 3, is really getting clear on that why. And when often we get really down to the heart kind of why, it is not really the number. It's what you think you will feel, how you think you will feel when you get to that number on the scale, or what you'll be able to do, or what that will mean. And that is actually underneath that kind of fixation that a lot of people have with their goal weight. What is that why? What is it that you're looking for that sits under kind of that number? So that is, I think, a really good thing to ponder. And number 4, so this is number 4 of steps to move out of a dieting mindset after weight loss surgery, is observe your thoughts and reframe them. So thoughts after the dieting thoughts won't go straight away after weight loss surgery. They won't go and just disappear. They are there. I shouldn't eat this. I should eat that. Oh, I ate that. I might as well, that black and white thinking, I might as well eat it all. They won't go, but I work with people we talk about observing your thoughts, and you can reframe them, because I want people to have a goal of health and self-care. And the actions that you do with your diet, regular meals and all of those lovely things, taking your vitamins, getting fluid, moving your body, it's actually about health and self-care. And yes, those things help you reach your goal weight and do all those things, but they're also habits that we want to establish lifelong for health, okay? And number 5 is relaxed self-monitoring. So I talk to people about long-term, when you get to your goal weight or where you're going to sit after your surgery, how do you monitor yourself in a relaxed way long-term that sits well with you? And it might not be hopping on the scales, it might be trying on that pair of pants or that skirt every now and again. And knowing what to do if you drift off. There's self-compassion, and if the pants are a bit tight, that's okay. I come back and I do a couple of days of tracking my protein, and I look at this and I look at that, and I get myself back into my zone. But it's with a level of self-compassion and a gentleness, not a I'm being bad, I've done this, and that kind of mindset. So I'm going to recap, and then I'm going to go up and scroll through all of your comments and questions, okay? So 5 steps to how to move out of a dieting mindset after having your weight loss surgery. Number 1 is stop counting calories and not being on an app if it does not serve you. Number 2 is monitoring your progress other than using the scales. Number 3 is being clear on your why, and your why is more than your goal weight. Your why is what are you looking for at a kind of more at a heart level for having your weight loss surgery. Feeling good in your clothes, being able to be active with your friends, being able to climb that mountain if you have those certain goals. So that they are your whys, being with your family for longer, being able to run around the park with your children, okay? Number 4 is observe your thoughts that are those dieting thoughts after your weight loss surgery, and we reframe them into healthy living, self-care thoughts, okay? And that in some ways can be really the hardest thing to do because our thoughts can be quite ingrained. And number 5 is how you're going to monitor yourself in a relaxed way long-term that feels empowering and that is not in a punishing kind of I'm on the scales, it's gone up, I've been bad way. And how do you find a way to have an empowering self-monitoring process, okay? So they are my 5. Thank you so much, because I know they were quite long. I'm going to go right up to the top because people have been putting lovely comments and questions, and you can keep doing that. And I'm going to come back. So yes, lovely. So someone in Vancouver just had surgery a few days ago. Sip, 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 sip fluid. Sip, sip, sip. So this is a great topic for you to think about as you're in those really, really early days. Mandy is scheduled to have surgery in October, and you've never followed direction and been consistent, so you're scared. Yes, there are lots of directions in the early days. Things ease off, okay? And there's lots of support out there. I offer support. I work with people in coaching and support. If you get great support from a centre, that is wonderful. Use their support. Don't feel bad asking for help. It's kind of like the people who've had children, what they say, don't be worried about asking for help. Sometimes you need help. And also, you don't know the challenges that are going to come up for you or how you're going to feel after surgery. So often I've heard people said, I thought this would be a challenge, but it's not. Something else is. But it is very normal and expected that you need support and hand-holding at some point, all those lovely things to help you through the changes after weight loss surgery. So always reach out and don't feel embarrassed at all for asking for help. And I hope you're going to get great help from your centre. Okay. Charlie had surgery in June, having issue getting fluid and protein needs. Food makes him nauseous and seasickish. Does this last? No, it doesn't last. Some people it lasts for longer. Charlie, there's lots of things that we can do to help. Medication, changing temperature of food, and all these different strategies. And I would say to you, very much you reach out for support. If you don't get it from your bariatric centre, send me a DM, because in these early days, even with that, we still want to try and make sure we get enough fluid and protein in, because we really want to optimise that weight loss in those early days. And yes, some people are quite challenged by nausea, but there's a whole lot of things that you can do, and it goes in time, okay? Barry had sleeve done in June, I think, Just so guys, in the US and in Australia, we do day, month, year, and you guys do month, day. And so sometimes I might get it mixed up if that means when you do your dates. So you might have been in June, but if you're in Australia, well, no, that would be June, and you might be in September actually, if you're in the US. Liquid stage, okay, yep. Very challenging. My mind keeps telling me I'm still hungry. Yes, hang in there. It is sip, sip, sip. You are going to move from clear fluids, you'll move to full fluids, you're going to get more into you, more fluid and more protein and more substance into you and energy. And it can very much be an emotional, a mind hunger as well. So hang in there, it gets easier, okay? And as you move through the stages, often that gets easier as well, especially when you can get onto, even when you're on pureed, chew. 14 weeks post-op, training 2 hours a day, went from food obsession to training, exhausting. I'm either in all or out, find a happy medium. Yeah, okay. So that is going to be, I suppose, part of your journey, okay? Because you can exhaust yourself out, and that I suppose, natural tendency to be really fixated and really consume yourself with something. I would be very living off eggs. We definitely want to be getting more and a variety of food. And often for you, Jacqueline, it sounds like, and I would encourage you to talk to somebody about learning how to maybe be easier on yourself and finding other strategies or other ways of kind of keeping yourself balanced, if that makes sense, because often you might be fixating on things to balance yourself out or keep busy or whatever it is for you. I would be encouraging some emotional support, okay? Because you will get exhausted. And yes, it's not uncommon for people to replace food with something else after having their weight loss surgery. So you are not alone at all. Okay. 4 months post-op, Rosie, and petrified to eat sugar, fast food, lollies. Will I grow out of that? Yes. So in time, it's not a bad thing. And if you are fine where you are now, then that's fine. In time, most people can get to, and we want people to get to a balance. We want to get a balance because if you don't feel deprived and that restricted, you're not going to bounce into an overeating cycle. But that does vary. But it's very normal to feel like that. A lot of people enter there after weight loss surgery and very motivated. It's a big decision to have weight loss surgery. So you will grow out. You are so early days. And people say to me, Jane, I'm 6 months after surgery. That's quite a long time. No, you are very early days. It's a couple of years before really you're kind of landing where you are and things are really settling in. And I know that seems like a really long time, but the stages and the things that you move through over that period is really significant. So you will grow out of that, okay? But also, I'd probably like to say that you want to be able to be mindful about what you're doing when you do that. You want to be mindful about being confident that you're getting great food choices and where does a treat fit in and how does that look, and very mindful about what you're saying to yourself and all of that kind of, I suppose, self-talk, because you don't want to kind of get into a point where you beat yourself up or think you've done something wrong and all of that kind of good and bad thinking, if that makes sense. So, yeah, Costa Rica, lovely, thank you. I think we're coming to, we've still got almost 3 weeks. The Thicky Legend. What a gorgeous handle. Almost 3 weeks post-op. Hope you're feeling okay. Stall. Look, I'm not a fan of the term stall. It is very normal for weight loss to stop and start. I kind of call it a plateau. So very normal for it to stop and start. So I would just weighing yourself maximum once a week, keep going on all the principles, working to get your protein, your fluid in. It's very normal, okay? And also I've heard people say, and I've read it in Facebook groups, there's very common times for the stalls. I haven't seen that with the number of, I've worked with nearly 1,300 people over the years, and I probably need to recount because I've had that figure for a long time, so it's probably more than 1,300 now. But everyone is different, but it's very normal for weight loss to stop and start. Now that scrag, for anyone who else finds eating protein makes vomit, try tasteless protein collagen powder in your smoothies or water, sugar-free, cold. So yes, you can use collagens after weight loss surgery, But guess what, Scrag? I recommend that to my clients, you don't actually count them in your protein total. So while you can use them and they're a great extra, we don't count them. I have my clients not count them in their protein total. And the reason why is collagens aren't complete and as a complete protein source, and they're not as well absorbed. So you want to still progress and look for food-based proteins in different forms that you can tolerate, keeping it softer and moister, chewing really slow. We want to progress into food. We don't want to rely on collagen or tasteless proteins. They're a nice extra. The evidence around them is good for hair, skin and nails, but they're low in an amino acid, that leucine, that is super key for muscle synthesis. Okay, how do we work with you and the fee? Lovely. Rosie, so you can send me a DM and I'll come back to you and talk to you. So fee, now I have different levels in my program and some of it does kind of depend on where you're at after your surgery. My starting fee of starting to work with me is $277 US per month. So that's kind of where it starts from, $277 per month. And things move up from there, but it really depends on how much coaching and support you want. Please send me a DM, because there is no, as I say to people, there is no obligation to talk to me and find out what my program provides. That's what I do. There is no hard sell at all, because that's how I let people know what I do being online, okay? So Rosie, send me a message, I'll come back to you and we can chat about it, and you can see, I always say, reach out, find out more about what I offer to see if I am right for you. There is no one person that's right for everyone. Everyone's different, okay? So thanks so much, Rosie. Lovely. You wish you had, yes, okay. So energy will increase over time. Protein, fluid, vitamins. It's very normal in the early to medium days to feel a bit tired, and it will increase, okay? You're very welcome. Great, thanks. Lovely guy, what wonderful questions and comments. So thank you so much. That is lovely. And I know people, even if they don't get on the live, people say to me that they listen to the replays. So, which is lovely, because we're all doing different things. And just some of those questions, I think, also helps people. If you've got that question, someone else will. So I hope you've enjoyed the content in the first part. The questions were wonderful. Thank you very much for your time. If anyone is interested in knowing more about my coaching and support and how I would work with you, please just send me a DM and I'll lead the way and let you know how we get to know each other. And it is about you getting to see if I'm right for you, and there is no pressure, obligation to find out about my coaching. So wonderful. Thanks very much. Bye.